Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz. I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. Today's episode is the first of its kind. It's the first time that I'm at a new build here at Beazer Homes. Please welcome Mr. Zach Rogers.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having me out. I appreciate it. First time doing a podcast, so this is all new to me, but pretty cool. I'm digging it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You reached out to me randomly, and I guess it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
We kind of delayed a little bit of things, and it's like, who is this guy? All right. And I looked up, I was like, oh, he knows Anna Martinez.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Quick shout out to Anna.
Quick shout out to Anna.
Yeah.
Anna's G Money.
Yeah, for sure. So she's awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, come on to the podcast. Let's talk about this, because this is something that I've been wanting to do. And honestly, I think it was Anna that was like, you should have new builds come on and talk about their products. I was like, that's a good idea. So super excited about it. Beazer Homes. Okay, so you're like the new one to town. Like, who is Beazer?
Who's a Beazer? What's that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So talk to us about who the heck is Beazer Homes.
Yeah, for sure, man. So brand new builder to San Antonio, but a huge national publicly traded builder, based out of Atlanta. So their headquarters, everything's out of Atlanta. Do a ton of business in California. They pretty much run the show there, from what I understand. And Houston, Dallas, Vegas is a huge market for Beazer.
Okay.
But just brand new to San Antonio. So they bought them and Imagine Homes had always had somewhat of like a silent partnership.
Okay.
Imagine was a very small local builder, ran in San Antonio, and just recently Beazer came in and bought the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel.
Okay.
So they are currently selling through some of the Imagine inventory and plans, but they're bringing in all their own plans and building process and you name it. But Beazer's been around, gosh, they started out in England back in as far back as the 1800s. You can trace Beazer. But really and truly, it's since around the 50s and 60s is in just been growing by leaps and bounds. So they do a ton of things that are very different than what you'll see in a lot of builders here in San Antonio.
That's awesome, man. So I drove out here, right? Not terribly familiar with this side of town.
Yeah.
Lots of new builds over here.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
There's a ton.
And it's one of the most booming areas in the whole state of Texas, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard some stats, this kind of general Alamo Ranch area is like 75 to 80% of the pie for every single real estate transaction in San Antonio, from what I understand.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and I was talking to my sales manager the other day, and it's one of the reasons that Beazer is coming into San Antonio is because San Antonio is kind of like the last frontier for affordability.
Yeah.
Dallas and Houston and anything else that's north of San Antonio is getting to be, it's getting up there. And so San Antonio, we've had a ton of growth, military town USA. Even if our economy just completely, the bottom fell out, we have 8 military bases here, right? So there's going to be a constant churn of people that either need to sell and leave San Antonio, or B, they are coming into San Antonio and need to buy.
Yeah.
So just that alone supports our market. I know a lot, interest rates have gone up a little bit, but what's great is that because of that means you can get somewhat of a discount on a home right now.
Yeah.
The second that rates drop, you'll see all this demand back into the market, and good luck getting any kind of a discount, or good luck getting your offer submitted. And
yeah, that's why I've been talking to a lot of my buyers right now. It's like, hopefully they're open to looking at a new build, right? I mean, there's so many benefits of new builds. I've bought 2 new builds. Bought my Pulte home about a year ago. So before Beazer was even around, right here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
But a lot of benefits of the incentives right now. We'll get into that a little bit later more. But let's talk about what kind of homes do y'all have here? Inventory homes, to-be-built homes? Talk to us a little bit about what kind of product.
So we do both. And it kind of varies per community as to what the ratio will be in terms of to be built versus inventory, but at the end of the day, you're going to have the option of both. If you are military and you just need something that's done that looks nice and reasonable payment, we're going to have that option. Or if you got, 5 to 6 months to build something out and kind of make it your own vibe and pick out your own cabinets, countertops, backsplash, floors. We have a full design center. And the design center that we currently use, it's called CRT over off of 1604 right across from Cornerstone.
Okay.
So full design center, you'll meet with a professional designer. They'll help you put everything together. You have 4 or 5 hours to do that. It's kind of funny. I try to always go to those design center appointments, and the last one that I went to, both of my buyers, when I got there, I was 20 minutes late, but when I got there, they were both sipping on whiskey and they're all excited, putting all their stuff together, you know, so it helps to loosen things up a little bit so that you're not so, over analyzing things, but
sure.
So we do everything we can to make it a fun process, and it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that. I was fortunate enough to go through that. And then like right after I closed, Pulte switched over to like, no, these are spec homes now. This is what we're putting into it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I personally enjoy being able to go, I want that. Yes, it's a little bit more of an upgrade, but that's what I want, and that's my style.
Correct.
All right.
I've been in new home construction for the last 7 years, and was at a previous builder in previous life, but most of the builders have gotten away from that. It's from 2020, 21, 22, it's been, here's what you get in this home. We will not make any changes, take it or leave it. And it's been, if you don't want it, there's 7 other people down the street that will come in and buy it and probably pay more money. And that, I know that has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths with new construction. And so I think, on your side, you probably get a lot of folks that don't want to go new construction just because maybe they visited a builder in the past year and a half, got that treatment, and just completely put a bad taste in their mouth. Yeah,
that definitely happens. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Well, cool. So we're this community is Veranda. Can you talk to us a little bit about this community and some of the other ones that are around here?
So we've got 3 communities currently on the west side. Veranda is the first one that has the first net zero ready model, and it's operating fully ready to go. And we'll get more into the net zero ready, but this model is ready to go. We have Morgan Meadows just up the street that their model will be done probably end of this month. Okay. In this month, towards the middle of August, it'll be complete. And so you'll have Justin Cantu and Chad Cook. They'll be over there in Morgan Meadows. And then we also have Hunter's Ranch, which is off of Petranco and 211. Okay. Models at frame stage. So we're looking at that one should be done around September.
Yeah. But this side of town, I mean, I'm born and raised here in San Antonio. Yeah. I grew up in that north central pocket. That's kind of where I've always lived. And I was literally showing a house earlier today, and it's like, man, there's so much new development over here. It's insane. Like just lots of different little shops, and lots of new builds, just a lot of opportunity over here. So when you mentioned, we're over here on the west side, it's like, it's not the west side that like we typically think about. It's like a far new west side.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's, if you hadn't been in and around this side of town in the last, really, man, like even in just the last 2 years, the landscape's completely different.
Totally.
Petranco's been widened out. There's tons of shopping, new Costco. Alamo Ranch has exploded with new home builds. There's really not enough room left to build in Alamo Ranch currently.
It definitely feels different because even when I started in 2019, I'd come out here, do some Alamo Ranch stuff, but it's totally different. 4 years, 2 years, whatever. Yeah. Right.
So, it's still county taxes. Some of the taxes out here range from, 2.5%, 2.6%, or as low as like 2.03%. Yeah. The taxes did go up a little bit out here recently because they're building that brand new hospital up here off of at the corner of Wiseman and 1604. So somebody's got to pay for that.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's cool. You got a big brand new hospital that they're building, so that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Wiseman is just right here, and it's a straight shot to 1604. Yeah. It's all residential. There's a couple traffic lights, but you're not having to battle the strip malls and the fast food places and all that stuff that tends to clog up traffic.
So Did I pass Calabria coming this way from North Central?
Yep.
So like Calabria is like crazy traffic. Like coming
Calabria,
out here, I know it's a little outside 604,
yeah,
but it was pretty easy to get here, like you were just talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's honestly, man, I think that's one of the biggest selling points for the location is just how easy it is to get to 1604.
Yeah.
I've worked off of Calabria and Shanefield and Petrenko, and this has been my life since I've worked in new construction has been this part of town, and there is no other feeder other than Wiseman that's quick access to 1604. So you can literally hit 1604 in 5 minutes and, get to wherever you're going from there.
Yep.
Whereas Petrenko, Calabria, Shanefield, all these other guys, it's going to take you 20 to 30 minutes just to get to 1604, and that also depends on what time of day you're leaving.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, coming home, same thing as well.
Yep.
So that's that part of it's tough, but it's a growing pain for San Antonio with as many people as we have moving here. So
for sure.
I heard a stat not too terribly long ago in one of the trainings that I went to that was in the last 2 years, there's been over 500,000 people have moved here, which is more than the California gold rush.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the biggest. It was like the biggest migration in human history.
Wow.
Of, people coming from California to Texas, which
I don't think it's slowing down really. I mean, there's no projection of it slowing down much. Like you said, it's even though for local San Antonians like myself, we go, man, these prices are getting so high. It's still way more affordable than like everywhere in the state / country.
Correct. It's not as high as it could be.
Yeah.
It's not as high as it probably will be.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's right now you can still get a very nice home from, 200 to 300, or, even around 350 is kind of where we start here in Veranda, but you can get a very nice home with a ton of standard features and warranty, with a very low interest rate, tons of incentives, and, still have a ton of equity in that home over the next 5 years. Yeah. Whereas, in Dallas, you can't find anything for 350, or even in Houston, you can't find anything for 350.
Yeah.
So, San Antonio, South Texas really is kind of the last frontier for affordability. Beazer Homes knows that.
Yeah.
San Antonio is literally the only area that Beazer is focused on growing right now. So I think they dropped $30 million or something like that overnight into San Antonio in their land positions. So we went in February from having 4 communities, February of this year, to currently we have 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And we are scheduled to continue that pacing through this time next year. I think the goal right now is to be 40 plus communities.
That's super exciting because, we won't mention them by name, but there's several builders that are everywhere, right? They're everywhere. And, and sometimes the quality ranges, right? And so as soon as I walked in here, I'm excited to see how many different communities. I looked y'all up online. I was like, oh, they're kind of everywhere, you know, on the outskirts where most of the new construction is, but still, you're in North Central, you're over here. There's different locations throughout the map. So I can't wait to see where y'all put those 40 communities, when you get there.
There's a ton of stuff coming. There's going to be, from what I understand right now, and of course, they don't tell us everything, right?
Sure.
Because a lot of that's, proprietary, and they want to keep it secret as long as they can. But there's 4 more communities coming on the west side that I know of. Mm-hmm. There's a good 5 to 6 more coming in Cibolo. I know they're looking at some stuff north in 281 area, out towards
Bulverde, Spring Branch, Zone,
Borgfeld, yeah. So there's so much stuff that's coming. I was in training in Atlanta, is where we're based out of, is in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. This last month, and per the CEO, Alan Merrill, came in and talked to all of us, and he held up a map of San Antonio, just littered with places that are either under contract or pending for land deals. So they're not messing around. They are poised for massive growth in San Antonio.
That's super exciting because as soon as I walked up to the house and then I walked into the house, it's quality. You walk in, you go like, this is quality stuff. I love all the natural light in here, the big windows, that, and especially at a price point of $350, which is the average price point in San Antonio approximately.
Correct.
Right. And it's like, man, you're getting some really good stuff in this house.
Yeah. No, and it was mind blowing to me coming here from my previous life. I won't name names, but I mean, it really is kind of mind blowing. I mean, I sold a single story home out in Morgan Meadows, which was a 2,100 square foot single story, 11,000 square foot corner lot, 3-car garage. Those were the guys that were at the design center, sipping a little whiskey, and they did some really nice stuff, man. Yeah. Like they did some really nice options at the design center, and all said and done, I think they're like 405, 406.
That's awesome. 3-car garage, that space, I'm sure the quality.
Not to mention, everything that we do as far as energy efficiency and surprising performance is what Beazer calls it. But everything that we do that's standard, that's included in the base price, I mean, that's almost 3 full pages of standard features.
Yeah, let's get into that, because you were showing me around and talking to me about these different things. I'm like, that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone into different builders, and everybody has a little bit different thing. But I was like, wow, that's totally different than anything I've seen. So you talked about 3 topics. You mentioned choice plans. Let's start with that.
Yeah. So three different things that ultimately that when people come through the door at Beazer that we want them to take away are ultimately it boils down to choice. And so we have our choice plans where, there's a couple different structural configurations that you can pick that are no change in price. For instance, your kitchen and primary bathroom choices is typically where those choice plans end up. But we also have plans like out in Morgan Meadows where, when you come in the front door, you can either have a formal office study, or you could have a bedroom. And you can choose either one of those options, and it doesn't cause any change to the price. Which that's cool, and it shouldn't. People should be able to make changes like that, because I mean it's the same amount of material.
Right. It's the same space.
It's the same space.
Right.
We're not adding any square footage. We're just kind of, changing things around a little bit to either A, make it a study, or B, make it a bedroom.
That's very different, because totally it's like base is this, but if you want to make it an office, we're going to upcharge you $5,000-$10,000.
Correct.
Like, what?
Yeah. If you want a bedroom, it's going to be $5,000. If you want an office, it's $6,000. Right.
Yeah.
And really at the end of the day, it's not costing the builder to do either one of those. It's just, moving things around.
Yeah.
So, with our choice plans here in Veranda, it's your primary bathroom and the kitchen, and you can, like for instance, if you, in the kitchen island that we're looking at here, you can have where if you don't want your kitchen sink and dishwasher in the island, you can move that to the other wall with a window, and you can have all that island space and use it as an actual table. Or, let's say you do a lot of cooking and you want that space to, prep food or whatever the case may be. You can do that, no change in price. In your primary bath, if you want, the big 6-foot shower, or if you want the big garden tub, you can do either one, no change in price.
Yeah.
And then so that's huge. That's a big thing for a lot of people, and it just kind of goes back to letting people do their own thing and kind of build the house the way you want it.
Right. Right. Because I mean, that's the beautiful thing about customizing it. I mean, obviously it's not like a complete custom home, right?
Right.
But it's at a healthy price point, and you still get to pick and choose, which is a lot of fun.
It's some options, but not overwhelming.
Sure.
Right? There is, like if you ever go to the Cheesecake Factory and you look at their menu, it's just overwhelming with, tons of options. And it's good. It's good to have some options, but when you have just a stack of options to pick from, the buyer can start to feel, nickel and dimed with that. And then that's what we don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So another one you've talked about, you mentioned net zero ready, and y'all call it, Beazer Homes calls it surprising performance.
Right.
Talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, that's huge as you get into it, because especially think about heat and energy.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, have lived in some of the other new construction homes that were, I guess let's call them price point, the lower end of the price point homes. And I'm a big guy. I like to sleep cold at night. And, you turn your AC on and your primary bedroom just never really gets the temperature. It's always hot, right? Or then you go out into your living room and it's freezing cold. So you just have areas of your home that don't get the attention from the AC that you would like it to, right? Or, and I can tell you in that particular home, in the summer months, I was well into the 300s on my utility bill.
Yeah.
So what Beazer does is, number one, we do 2x6 construction on all the exterior walls. So that does a couple things. Is it leaves a 6-inch cavity for insulation. But we're also able to get our frame packs a little bit faster because we're not having to battle all these other builders for 2x4. We still do some 2x4 on the interior, but all the exterior is 2x6.
Okay.
We also do a DuPont blue board wrap around the whole house. So that's about a styrofoam wrap. So it's about a 1 to 1.5 inch thick wrap. And then so we have a 2x6, which is a 6-inch cavity, and then we do expandable foam insulation into that 6-inch cavity. So with the foam insulation, it's like wrapping that styrofoam wrap around the whole house is like wrapping the home in a big jacket. So we do all that. So that's, at the end of the day, it's roughly about 7 inches of foam insulation. So there's no one out there that gives you A, foam insulation, but B, 7 inches of foam insulation on the exterior walls at the price that we give it to you for.
Right.
The other thing that we do that's different is, we do a Tyvek moisture barrier. We do that full wrap, but we use the entire Tyvek weatherization system. That includes any penetrations that come into the home. There is a Tyvek gasket that goes around those penetrations. All the nail heads are capped by Tyvek material, and we use Tyvek licensed installers.
I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
As like the installers, it's like taking it to the next level.
Correct.
Not just using the material like, hey, somebody installed it, I don't know who.
Correct.
But like these are quality.
Yeah. So what's key there is because we use the entire Tyvek weatherization system, we use Tyvek licensed installers. So instead of a 5-year warranty on the Tyvek, we get a 10-year warranty.
Nice.
So it's just the home is built the way a home should be built. You'll never have a room that's hotter than another in this home unless you just close a vent. We do have a dual damper system, so even for some of our larger 4,500 square foot single stories out in, Palacios and Highland Estates, one AC system, one AC unit.
Yeah.
So with the home being as tight as it is, you don't need any more than that.
Right.
And every single room in the house has its own vent and return. So as soon as the hot air hits the ceiling, it gets siphoned off, reconditioned, mixed with the cool air that's in the home, and sent back out as AC. All of the fresh air is handled by our AC. So, they keep talking about right now on the news, all the Saharan dust that's in the air. None of that comes into your home.
Okay.
So as fresh air intakes, that brings that fresh air in, mixes it with the cool air that's in the house, and it's filtered. So we have a big MERV 13 plus filter in the attic that filters all that out, and that filter is better than hospital grade filtration.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So asthma, I get bronchitis a lot. That's kind of why we pushed this back as many times as we did. Is I just got over that. But the only time I really feel better is when I'm here in the office because I'm not having to deal with all the junk that's in the air right now.
Right.
So
that's super cool. I mean, especially on these crazy hot days, right? Yeah. And we talk about the spray foam even in the attic. Like if you had to get up in the attic and do something, it's like it's not that hot.
Same temperature in the attic as it is in the rest of the house. And that's one of the things that you'll see in the Beazer models is that we have a chocolate bunny that we put in the attic. And so if you look on my social media, you'll see some of those hashtag show me the bunny. And so it's, that chocolate bunny sits up there even when it's 110 degrees outside and it's perfectly fine. You know? So that's huge. And the reason that that's huge, and a lot of times we have to kind of point that out to people is, in a typical house, if it's 100 degrees outside, it's what, 130 in the attic.
Oh yeah.
So, if you've got your AC set to 75 degrees and, what does that air have to do before it comes into the house? It's traveling through all the ductwork in your attic.
Yeah.
So if it's 130 degrees in your attic, people wonder why their AC never turns off. Well, that's why, because it's naturally heated up by the air that's in the attic. In these homes, it's built as close to a Yeti cooler as you would want a home to be built, So like if you have ever had I know the Stanley cups are, real popular right now.
Yeah.
My wife has like 4 of them.
You just need one.
Yeah. She's got one in every color, it seems like. But yeah, she'll put ice in that thing in the morning, take it to work, come home. I'm typically the one that does dishes in the house, but I'll go to grab her Stanley, and like literally 2 days later, it still has ice in it.
Wow.
And so, it's kind of a funny analogy, but this home is built as close to a Yeti or a Stanley as you would want a home to be built.
And of course, like, what does that mean? That obviously means you're saving money. I mean,
right.
Y'all post those. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, when you come in my front door here at the model, you see all of our choice plans, and you have the magnets where you can kind of play around with the options. But I mean, Beazer is confident enough to post the utility bill right there front and center on the plan. For the biggest home that we build here in Veranda, the Wallace, which is 2,500 square feet, $101 a month.
Yeah.
In the summer.
That's wild.
I can confidently tell you that there's no one else out there that would post that utility bill on their plan front and center. That's a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And especially with them coming into San Antonio with as much force as they are, they're very confident in the San Antonio market.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me that are looking at those, trends and numbers, and San Antonio is going to be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. This one is very interesting. The third topic that you mentioned that we're going to talk about is mortgage choice.
Yep.
You go to all these buyers and they're like, well, you get these great incentives only if you go with our lender, right? And it's just one lender,
right?
And it's you get what you get, you
right.
know? So talk to us about this mortgage choice. I've never heard of this.
Yeah. So me either, before I came here, and it's something that's very different. And so Beazer Homes does not own a lender, right? Most new construction builders have an in-house lender that they own or they own a portion of to originate loans for them.
Yeah.
And in order to get, part of the incentive that builder offers, you have to use that lender. And here it's similar, but we don't own a lender. We have mortgage choice. So mortgage choice is basically here in San Antonio, we have 5 different local lenders that are all part of mortgage choice. They all have to be vetted to be a part of it. They have to maintain quality scores to be a part of it. But what's great is you have 5 different lenders and loan officers that are all competing for your business. You have to, so we give you $10,000 if you use one of those mortgage choice lenders, and you have to apply with at least 2 of them. You can apply with all 5 if you want. But the way that works is we have a portal that you go on, and basically we'll ask you a few questions as what's most important to you. Is it rate? Is it cash out of pocket? What are you looking for in a lender, so to speak? And when you apply, let's say you apply with all 5 lenders upload their loan estimate to that portal. That portal will go in and digest that loan estimate and tell you, okay, well, lender B is gonna match up to what you said was important to you. So that's the best deal.
Yeah.
And then, you can choose that lender for now. And then, later on, some of these other lenders may come in and sweeten the pot for you. We've got 5 months that we've got 5 months, where we need to build a home.
Yeah.
We just need something locked in with a lender 30 days or so before closing. But it's interesting so far to see how that works, because, we give $10,000, right? Which at the end of the day doesn't sound like a lot of money compared to what some of these other builders are giving. But what you have to keep in mind is that when you have 5 different lenders that are all waiving fees and costs, that $10,000 goes a lot further than it would, with builder A, B, C, or D.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to catch on as a trend. But again, all these builders own their own lender, so they're probably not going to bring in competition.
Right.
That's really cool because like now you have these multiple lenders competing for your business because they want that business, right? So more than likely, you're going to get a pretty darn good deal.
Absolutely, and that's been the case so far.
Yeah.
I've seen, with just the back and forth with the lenders, I've seen rates get as low as 4.5%.
Wow. Yeah. That's huge right now.
And that's with zero closing costs. And you got to keep in mind too, these are local lenders. Their underwriting is in-house. A lot of times with some of these other builder lenders, their underwriting is in, another state,
Colorado,
somewhere.
Yeah.
They have no skin in the game. They don't care if you close.
Yeah.
One of the lenders here that we work a lot with, she owns the company. It's her company. Her underwriters are in house. She can do pretty much whatever she wants, because it's her company. So she has a lot of flexibility in order to get, some challenging loans done, whereas I can promise you no other builder would be able to get some of those loans done.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And I hope y'all hear that is right now, especially with these interest rates, I think they just recently climbed above 8 is the prime rate.
Yeah.
All right. And obviously you'll see things that are like, oh, no, we're at 6.5 or whatever. They're automatically charging you to buy down that rate.
And that's what you see here. Like, my competitor across the street has a sign up that says, guaranteed 4.75.
Yeah.
And that may be the case, but it's also, we'll get you a 4.75 rate, but you're going to pay, we're not going to take a penny off the price of this house for you to get to that 4.75 rate.
Yeah.
And so that 4.75 rate is built into the price of that home. And so that's what people, misunderstand a lot of times.
So talk to us a little bit about incentives are huge right now, right? And the bidding war 2020, 2021, everybody's competing. New builds weren't necessarily giving away stuff. Right. And I remember getting in 2019 and some people were like, well, do I get a fridge with that? Do I get a washer dryer with that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like nobody's giving anything away. But recently I've heard...
What's that? What's a fridge?
I've heard some new builds kind of throwing that back in now, and different things like that. So what kind of incentives do y'all have? It sounds like the majority of it is that, the choice, the mortgage choice. But what else you got?
So specifically with Veranda, and it's different for each community. So like Morgan Meadows and Hunter's Ranch, they're brand new communities, so they have some crazy incentives right now. So they kind of work on, first, second, third, fourth, fifth sale for those new communities. So the best incentive is going to be for like the first and second sale and so on and so forth. But here for Veranda, we've got kind of, choice incentive as well. So you could do, if you wanted fridge, washer, dryer, blinds, we could do that and take maybe $5,000 off the base price, or we could do that $5,000 towards design. Or you're like, I'm good. I don't need a fridge, washer, dryer, blinds. Just give me $10,000 towards design, and we can do that too. So you'll get that regardless of which lender you use. If you come in with your own lender, we're not out to take you away from your current lender. We can give you 1% of the sales price towards closing costs with an outside lender if you don't want to use Mortgage Choice.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah. But if you go with Mortgage Choice, 99 times out of 100, you probably will get a better deal, and we'll give you the full $10,000 towards closing costs.
So if you go through the Mortgage Choice, you're probably going to get a great deal.
Yeah.
And $10,000 towards really however you want to use it is what it sounds like.
Right. Okay. And if you want to upload, so let's say you come in with John Doe lender.
Yeah.
And you've got a loan estimate from that lender, and you want to compare that estimate with the Mortgage Choice, you can upload that estimate into the Mortgage Choice portal, and it'll compare all the numbers for you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Sweet. So talk to us a little bit about community amenities. Obviously, each community is a little bit different. What size communities are y'all looking at? I mean, I think it's a Valley Ranch, D.R. Horton, that has a massive community.
Yeah.
Lenore has silos, massive. Do y'all have those huge communities come in?
So Veranda is going to be pretty big.
Yeah.
So right now, we're working on a takedown system.
Okay.
So, we're sharing the community currently with these other two competitors across the street. So, and there's other builders I know that are trying to come into Veranda and purchase more land, but total, I mean, this is going to be like 3,000 lots. And this land that we're sitting on currently was a D.R. Horton owned land that they kind of got rid of. But I mean, it's supposed to go all the way back up to 211 from what I understand.
Okay.
So we've got access to about 400 lots currently, but we're in the process of trying to purchase another 400 in Veranda. And we may be bringing in, so currently we have our 40-foot product, looking at bringing in a 40-foot and possibly even a 60-foot in the future.
Nice.
So we've got some of the 3-car garage options out in Morgan Meadows just because we have the larger lot. And so those are selling like hotcakes right now. When's the last time you heard of a 3-car garage, that
yeah.
Potentially, I mean, we can build that out there for under 400 right now, just depending on, which floor plan we're looking at and what we do at design. But, I mean, that's on a big, oversized cul-de-sac lot, after design center, maybe 380, 390 on some of the single stories. Yeah.
That's unheard of.
It is.
Yeah. 3-car garage, like under 4.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. And, a lot of that boils down to we don't focus on making money on the loan. We're not focused on making money on title. We are focused on building a home the way that it should be built. And that's what we are out to make a profit on is building a quality home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, this is definitely quality, and I've enjoyed this experience and chatting with you, picking your brain. Is there anything else that you want to throw out to the community that's listening?
Yeah. Right now, Beazer's just getting started, right? So like I said, we've got 13 communities that are active. If you haven't heard of Beazer, you will, because of how quickly we are expanding between now and this time next year. We should, hopefully and prayerfully, God willing, everything goes well, we'll be at 40 plus communities, which, that's nothing to sneeze at, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge major player in San Antonio, and currently not to be braggadocious or anything like that, but I mean our standard features here in Veranda, and this is one of our least expensive options. I mean, we have 2 full pages of standard features. The water heater that we put in, which is pretty crazy, somehow, and I'm still kind of learning how that process works, but, like I said earlier, we do the blue board wrap, so the garage has that insulation. The water heater that we put in is a Rheem hybrid electric gas water heater, but somehow or another in the process of heating water, it creates cold air, but it has a big vent fan on the water heater that pumps out cold air into your garage. So that's, if you use your garage for anything other than parking, I mean, it's going to be nice and comfortable in there.
That's cool.
It's just, man, I've never seen a builder come in and offer as much as we do at the price that we're offering it.
Yeah.
Never.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, guys, I highly recommend look up Beazer Homes online. Check out their different communities right now. Like you said, if you haven't heard of them, they're going to be popping up, and it's super exciting to bring them to San Antonio, have a new builder. Since 2019, when I started, there hasn't been too many newer builders.
It's there really hasn't.
These are like the standard builders.
Yeah,
in San Antonio.
There's been a couple like little local startups and stuff, but nothing that's like a huge national player like Beazer.
Yeah.
BZH is their stock ticker. I've talked to Alan Merrill a couple times. He's been here in San Antonio. He's come through the model, been through trainings and stuff with him, and super down to earth guy. They're not messing around. They're here. They're here to invest heavily in San Antonio. Once the biggest thing that I would tell you is that if you are in the market at all for a home, you've got to at least give us a look, and really, review what we're offering. As long as you like the location and you like the home a little bit, I can pretty confidently tell you that there's just no one out there that can really compete with what we're offering right now.
Dude, that was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I highly recommend you guys come check out. Say hi to Zach out here at Veranda.
Yeah.
And that's our show. Feel free to reach out to us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all those things. Share the show with a friend. Do you know somebody that's looking to buy their first home? Maybe they're looking to downsize, upgrade, whatever. They need to check out Beazer Homes here. So give us a review. Let me try that again. Give us a review. Give us a rating. That helps us grow the show. Yep. Share the show and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. As I wrap up here, I'm going to do a video walkthrough and kind of promote the model here. So take a look at that. We thank you for joining us today. Now let's go out there and buy a new house.
Awesome.